Assalamu alaikum, hello and welcome to my show Connecting with Saima Parwaz. I hope all of you are doing great and waiting to see my another guest. From few years, vacation, studying in abroad, relocating for work purpose or settling in new countries became a trend. For all these matters, immigration lawyers and experts help individuals. My today's guest is a very talented, talkative, elegant lawyer, Mitra. Welcome to my show, Dev. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Saima. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
How was your day? How's so far?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I think every day is fantastic, and I've been looking forward to this. And I've been preparing myself for this interview. I won't lie to you, but for the last 2 hours. And I've been outside thinking about this the entire time, but I think I have come up with no strategy.
All right. So how was you coming from downtown, right?
I'm coming from downtown Toronto, yes.
So you hit the traffic?
No, I did not drive. I took an Uber because I don't like driving.
And you live in downtown?
I live in downtown.
You don't need a car.
Yes.
So Dave, tell me, do you remember how we met first time?
Yes, absolutely. So it was at our common friends Yamina's party. Just a bit of background: Yamina is an immigration lawyer, and then
she came to my show a few times.
She's been to your show a couple of times, yes, and then and she called us to a party, and then I met you at the concierge, and then you were standing. I think you were waiting at the concierge for the last 10 minutes for someone to accompany you all the way to the 35th floor. Because you were scared to be in the lift alone. I didn't know that fact until you told me today. So,
all right. Thanks for helping me that day.
Right.
All right. So now, tell me about your background, your career, your anything related.
Okay. So I grew up I was born in a city called Calcutta in India, which is far east. And but then I've spent most of my life in the north of India, where I started in a boarding school, and then eventually my parents moved to Delhi. So there was a lot of back and forth between Delhi and Himachal. That's where I started. And for work, I've hopped around many cities in India. I've worked in the south, I worked in the north, and possibly done some projects in the west as well. And then I got sick of work at one point, and I decided to go away to Australia to study, where I was doing my master's. I specialized in intellectual property and commercial contracts, and because I wanted specific knowledge which I could use in the information technology space. That was my area of interest. And then, so once Australia was done, I came back to India, and then I started working for a fairly large IT corporation, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and I was working in the intellectual property team for almost 4 years before I moved to Canada. So I moved as an immigrant, and as a permanent resident, and then and this was just before pandemic.
Yeah, I was talking to your wife actually before recording. She said it's 4 years ago.
Yes, we've completed 4 years in July.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, time flies.
Time flies.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't honestly, we haven't kept track of time.
Of course.
And things have moved at a certain pace in terms of life, work, and everything in general.
So you guys came just before pandemic, right?
Just before pandemic.
Yeah.
Like a couple of months before pandemic. And then my wife started studying, and I was also working, and at the same time I was trying to knock out my challenge exams, because given my background of a lawyer, I got my degree assessed by the NCA, which is a body that uh, recognizes international degrees and then gives out exams, challenge exams. So I was focused on knocking those exams out, which I successfully knocked out in 2020. And yeah, I mean, then I started preparing for the bar, but I just could not find the time to take the bar, and that's a whole different story altogether.
So you were in back home in India.
Yes.
Background is from India.
Yes.
And you were a lawyer, right? How many years have you done the practice?
So I graduated in 2009. Then with given few, I mean, I've taken a few breaks, but then I think I've put in close to 14 years of work ex.
Wow.
Across multiple domains, mostly technology, and then I think I specialized in intellectual property.
So what made you to come to Canada?
That's a very good question. I actually ask that question to myself every day, with no regrets, of course. Canada's been very kind to me in every way possible.
It's a beautiful country.
It's a beautiful country, and to be honest, I mean, I've traveled a lot. I mean, I've not traveled for vacation, but I've traveled for work. So, and I've come across different people, worked at different levels, and I've met the nicest people in Canada, to be honest.
Yeah, Canadians are really friendly.
And yeah, even people that have immigrants that are in Canada are otherwise very helpful. And that is my experience. I mean, I cannot speak for others, but I can speak for myself. I've had a lot of help.
And the other thing is you work with immigrants, right?
I work with immigrants,
Yeah.
yes.
The people who wants to come to Canada from any country, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is your company called?
Matrix Venture Studio.
Yeah, I think actually your partner, he came 2-3
Abhijit
episodes.
was here,
Abhijit
yes.
was
Yes.
here, right? Yeah.
While I was still mustering up courage to make it to your show. So I sent him first so that there could be some trial and errors.
Of course.
And then I decided to come.
That's so nice of you guys, both of you.
No, thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's also an honor because I've seen the other people that have come here and very accomplished, very dignified, and
Thank you. So guys, Dave is a professional lawyer, and he's a visa expert. He works with lots of immigrants, and he's very professional, and at the same time he's very friendly, very talkative. If you guys need any guidance, any help for your loved ones who are back home, or if you need help for yourself, you can connect to Dave Mitra, and his number you can find on the screen. So Dave,
yes.
what else you want to tell to the audience about yourself?
Yeah, I think one of the questions that I think went unanswered was, why did I choose Canada? So I think one of the reasons was that I was doing a bit of research in terms of, and I wanted some international exposure. I mean, I was working with a multinational corporation. I had stakeholders that were in the United States, in the Canadian geo, in the Australian geo, and the European geo. But then I think working in that particular geo adds a lot of value as well. And that was the key driver for my decision to come to Canada, because one, it was immigration friendly, and I say this to everyone that I think Canada has one of the best immigration systems in the world, and it is it's very streamlined, and it offers enough opportunities for variety of professionals. Everyone, lawyers, software developers.
It's a very helpful country.
Yes, yes. So I think they get the opportunity to come here, put in efficient effort, and then get the experience they need. And some become business owners, some move on to other things, better things. So that was a key driver. I actually wanted to go to an international geo, and then I wanted to explore that geo, work there, and see how it feels. That was the key driver, to be honest.
When I came to Canada as an immigrant in 90s, the system was totally different, the immigration system. So during these years, what changes do you see?
Right. Well, I think the systems, it's still evolving, but I think it is at a stage where it's very well segmented, and I think there's a lot of information that's available on public domain for people or general public to consume, and well, I think it's unfair to say that the information on public domain is enough to navigate through the Canadian immigration system. It can get complex, but that's one of the reasons why people like us work in the space, people like Yamina Ansari work in the space, and there are other lawyers and agents who are specialized in that field. So that's one of the reasons why they are there, to handhold people to navigate through the system. But in general, I feel the system has evolved, and especially with integration of various applications and technology, I think it's at a point where it is pretty simple and self-explanatory. I don't think it should be a problem for a high schooler to apply for a visa. So it's at that stage of maturity at this point.
So anyone who wants to come here
Yes.
from different country, how do you guys help them? What is your first priority? Like, how you initiate those people, their file?
So I think the way we work is we are a service provider, and we work with immigration agents and immigration lawyers, and we support their clients, because the space that I work in requires business expertise and also requires legal expertise.
So you are not the advisor. Basically, you help the lawyers.
I help the lawyers and the immigration agents, yes.
So that means you work with lots of lawyers.
I work with lots of lawyers, yes, and lots of immigration agents as well.
Of course.
Yes.
Got it.
So my firm handles the business side of things, and the lawyer and the immigration agents handle the immigration and the legal side of things, because economic immigration can be very complicated. So that's why we let the best person handle what they can.
So what is the easiest way if someone wants to come to Canada? Suppose they are in their 20s.
Okay. So if someone's that young, I would advise them, and if they have an academic inclination, then I would advise them to use the student visa route. As far as I know, I think Canada has plenty of good universities, great colleges offering variety of courses. So people, depending on what their interests are, they should apply for a student visa. First, find a college, find a course.
I think that's why we see so many students here, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I hear a lot of stories about people not finding the right job, or not finding a job. That's only because they probably haven't picked up a program of their interest.
Got it.
Because I think you have to be passionate, and you have to be persistent, no matter what you do. Like, especially for students, pick up a program that you like. Then I think you'll go the whole 9 yards in accomplishing what you want.
Even I have seen many students, I have met them, they're
Right.
young kids, they are just doing not accordingly what they need to study.
Right.
They are just doing because they wanted to come to Canada, so
Correct.
they are just entering in any program, which is just a wastage of time, I think.
Correct,
right?
correct.
So what do you suggest?
So I think I write a lot of posts on LinkedIn. So I think you've picked up a very interesting topic. So for anyone that's unable to secure a job in their desired domain, I always suggest that they volunteer in their desired domain. They may have a different job that's circling expenses because, of course, the ground reality is that Canada is an expensive country to live in, especially in terms of hard currency. If you're coming from India, if you're coming from Pakistan, or if you're coming from any other Southeast Asian countries, the exchange rate is something to be factored in. So, but like I said, I mean, one has to be passionate and persistent. So what they need to do is, in order to, for a student to find a job in their relevant domain, they need to volunteer. So what volunteering does is, well, it displays the drive in that person. So the employer, whoever's gotten the person on board to volunteer, sees that drive that this person, this gentleman or this lady is putting in the hours without pay, and continues to generate quality work product. So that piques the interest of the employer as well. So many times I've seen seen situations where people have continued to work as a volunteer for an entire year, and they've locked in that job. The same employer has called them back. So there are ways to get past this stigma of not finding a job. Like, I will be very honest with you. I mean, I worked as a volunteer, and based on that volunteering experience, I was able to, incorporate this company and start this business of my own.
That's why universities and schools, they offer lots of co-op programs, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So an international student should also look out for volunteering opportunities anywhere, and especially in their desired domain of expertise.
So I'm really enjoying talking to you, Dave, and you're giving very good information. So guys, we're gonna go for a short break, and I'll see you after the break. Hello friends, we are back. I hope you are enjoying talking to Dave. If anyone who's a new immigrant or looking for a new house, or they want to relocate their houses, connect to Saima Parwaz real estate team. And back to Dave. How was your break?
He was good. I was trying to get some tea, but then it's not to my liking. I'm just kidding.
All right, so tell me one thing. And your Instagram ID,
Yes.
it shows 8 weapons. What is
Okay.
your ID, first of all, for my audience?
Okay, so my personal IG handle is 8 weapons.
Okay, so what is that? When I saw it first time, I'm like, what is this?
Okay, that's a very good question. So a bit of context as to how the name came to be. So I'm a martial arts enthusiast. So I practice 2 forms of martial arts: Krav Maga, which is used by the Israeli Defense Forces.
So you're a black belt?
I am a brown belt. I'll soon be a black belt.
Nice.
Yes. And then I also train in Muay Thai, which is Thai kickboxing. So the 8 weapons, the name has been derived from Muay Thai. So the 8 weapons in Muay Thai means the 8 parts of the body that are used in a fight. So these are all pairs: the pair of shins, 2. The pair of knees, 2 more, that's 4. The elbows, that's 6. And then the fists, 8. So these are the 8 weapons.
All right. So you guys use it for your martial arts.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So you are learning this for how many years?
I've always done combat sports. I mean, even when I was younger. So I grew up learning taekwondo, and then I did boxing for a bit. Then stopped altogether because life and work happened. But then now I've picked my hobbies back up. I mean, I've been doing this for the last 3 years now, and thoroughly enjoying it.
So friends, this cooler can also teach you guys martial arts.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So you came as an immigrant, I came as an immigrant. And what do you suggest to other immigrants? What should they do initially, in the initial stages of when they come to other country, when they move to other country?
Well, I think one has to make a couple of smart choices when they land. And I've only learned it from experience. I'm not the brightest person in the room. I think there are brighter people that I've seen. I usually end up making mistakes, but then I don't make the same mistake again. So, for any immigrant, even if they are coming as a student, whether they're coming as a student, whether they're coming as a landed PR, or as or on work permits, restricted work permits, open work permits, what they need to figure out is how to cut their travel time short. So they have to find a location which is convenient. What might seem conducive is finding a house that's that's reasonable, which is falling within the budget. But then you have to also factor in that while it is reasonable, it also has to be convenient, because like Toronto in general and GTA is well spread out. It's sprawling, and getting from point A to point B is a nightmare if you don't have a vehicle. So one of the strategies should be to find a location that's convenient, not necessarily reasonable. I mean, if it's both, then it's a double dip.
You think so? Living in Canada, you need to be street smart?
Yes, absolutely, and for that matter, anywhere in the world, one has to be street smart.
Yeah, and these internets and media, almost everyone is smart now. They can figure out things in minutes, right?
Absolutely. There are applications, there is so much information on social media, I think, and there's so much information on public domain. People have enough material to read, consume, conceptualize, and implement. So they should leverage all the information that's out there, to be honest. And it only gets better with time.
What is success?
So success is subjective, and I think also the definition of success would change from time to time.
Yeah.
So my current definition of success is to bring a smile on my client's face, because they've put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and definitely a lot of money in what they're trying to achieve. So helping them achieve their objectives, their goals and their dreams makes me very happy, and I feel I find my success in their happiness.
That's really great answer. So what is your one advice to the youth?
So I've not been a very inspiring youth, to be honest. But through my experiences, what I've learned is that, like, hatred begets hatred, jealousy begets jealousy, but kindness begets kindness in some form or the other, not from the same person, but the universe finds a way to be kind to you. So I feel, be kind, be positive, and just light up the night.
Are you inspired by any celebrity?
Not a celebrity, but when I was younger, my father gifted me a book. It was the biography of Martin Luther King Jr. A lot of the younger generation would not know about him, but he was a black activist, and he was an activist when there was a lot of black aggression in America. So the book was called The Measure of a Man. So one of the quotes that Martin Luther King Jr. left behind was, "The measure of a man is really measured when the person is in a situation which is not favorable." And which was the case with him as well. I mean, he was trying to fight white supremacy and it was completely unbalanced. And his resilience was so much that I think that was quite inspirational. I was quite young to understand these little things. But I think, and my father kept reading that book to me. But that is how I realized today why he kept reading it to me. Because I think that book generally gives you a lot of hope in turbulent times to stay your ground. I mean, the world will try and move you around, but you tell them, well, you move, I'll stay where I am.
When we move to another country, we represent our countries. We are the ambassadors. Try to follow rules and policies of that country and do not break them. And your thinking, behavior, character also represent your country. See you in my next episode. Thank you so much, Dave. And it's nice talking to you, and hope to see you in my another episode.
No, absolutely. It was a pleasure
Take
meeting you
care
as
and
well.
love you all. Bye.